After a CAA regular season where every game felt like a heavyweight fight, two teams delivered knockout blows in the semis. Delaware dominant over Drexel, Towson terrific as they ran away from UMass, which leaves us to the city where Rocky is king. It's the Blue Hens and Tigers in the CAA championship game on LSN. And with that, we welcome you alongside the Beast, Greg Gurenlian. I'm Travis Eldridge. Greg, we've made it here to Championship Saturday, a spot where Towson has consistently been, sixth time in the last 7 CAA championships that they are here. For Delaware, their first trip since 2011, a little dichotomy there.
We expected to see Delaware here last year.
We did.
And it didn't work out in their way. But in a conference that is a blue-collar brawl every year, I don't think there's any question which two teams belong here right now playing their best lacrosse at this point.
And that's what we saw in the semifinals. Both of these teams peaking at the right time to get here to Saturday's championship game. And two of the guys that stood out in those semifinals, guys that we expected to, and they went off for big games, including Nick DeMeo, 7 points, including 5 goals for the Tigers.
Nick DeMeo has been an offensive force, exactly what Towson needed after last season. Coming over from College Park, he's been an absolute savage, and they're going to go really far if he can continue to do what he's been doing.
On the other side, another known quantity, Mike Robinson. He's been doing this his entire Blue Hens career. The sharpshooter putting up a 6-pack in the semi.
What an incredible talent, and every time we think we've seen his whole arsenal, he adds another piece to his game. It is not easy to stand out in a prolific offense that has this many characters in it, so Mike Robinson is the real deal.
Well, the guy that'll be trying to stop Mike Robinson and this powerful Delaware attack is number 1 in black. That's Shane Brennan, the goalie for the Tigers, gets the start. The 6th-year senior out of Huntington Station, New York. On the Delaware side of things, Matt Kilkeary, a redshirt senior, came back for this year. Delaware wasn't sure if he was going to come back. Well, he did, and now he has them in the CAA championship game for the first time since 2011. On the Brennan side of things, his story throughout his college career has been quite remarkable. Guy who started early on in his career, dealt with some injuries that knocked him out. He watched other guys come and take that starting role, but now he has it here in his final season with the Tigers and a chance to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Temperatures right around 50 degrees. Rain should be constant in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania throughout this one. But we are underway in the CAA championship game.
We're going to see a great battle between two very talented young face-off men. Matt Constantinides from Towson. He has really gotten good as the season's gone along, and Logan Premtaj.
Oh, what a start. Delaware right off the face-off, the feed to Ty Kurtz. And the Blue Hens strike first here in the title game.
That'll get the juices flowing. Right off of the opening face-off, a scrum, which is what we're going to expect to see today. A lot of 3-on-3 draws. Nice little shovel pass. Oh, what a great look. Catch and release.
Give Joe Spears, the LSM, the assist on that one. His second assist of the season. Second team All-CAA performer is Constantinides. Had a beat on that ground ball, couldn't pick it up. Now he does. No, it's loose again. And it's Delaware ball as it goes out of bounds.
Constantinides is some of the fastest hands you're going to see as a face-off guy. He's at his best when he gets in and out. If Premtaj wants to be successful, he's going to continue to do what he did in that first face-off, which is make Constantinides have to try to grind it out, create a 3-on-3 face-off. Delaware's going to have a little bit of an advantage in those situations.
Take a look at the starting midfield. Clay Miller, Drew Linkaitis, and Mark Beta for Delaware. At the attack spot, we already saw Kurtz score, joined by Robinson and J.P. Ward. Here is Robinson. That one slipped out of his stick.
Yeah, that'll be something interesting to take a look at with this weather. This Delaware team can bomb it from everywhere. Almost everybody has the same skill set. They can shoot with their hands free. They can dodge. Is that slippery ball going to lessen anything, or are they going to be a little bit more exact and dedicated to making sure they're in tighter on these shots? Didn't seem like it on the very first shot of the game, though.
No, they let it rip.
Affecting these sticks at all.
Linkaitis beats his man, saved by Brennan. And he's in the crease. So the Tigers get a stop, and they'll try to go on offense for the first time if they can clear. Garrett's.
Yeah, the Tigers did a great job in that semi against UMass in their really rough ride. Much better job than what we saw against Drexel when UMass just completely stifled their ability to get up the field.
But at
the end of the season,
errant pass there, and you know what? That's what we've seen a couple of times. Sometimes it's not just the attackman riding right away that causes some difficulties. It's even when the team that just lost the ball sits back around midfield and makes a long pull, make a long pass like that. Can be difficult, especially in the rain.
You make a great point. They call it a zero ride. The attack drops back down to the midfield. And you're basically daring the LSMs to have to throw these overs across the field into the wind and into the elements. It's actually a very smart strategy in this type of weather.
So Delaware gets another possession. And as we saw in that semifinal win over Drexel, when this offense gets a lot of looks, they're going to cash in more often than not. And there's another. Sliding it by on the dodge. It's Clay Miller, the midfielder, puts the hands up 2-0.
This is just a really smart take out of your offense. You're not doing anything different. You're gonna take the ball, you're gonna dodge right off the pass. And usually this would kind of draw a slide amongst a lot of teams, but Towson has a lot of faith. Notice how Delaware put all their men on offense on the other side, the other half of the field, making that slide really, really long, and Towson really trusts their shorties. This is not, I mean, defensively in position, it's okay, but you got to get your gloves on the man as he continues to go towards the goal.
The violation on Constantinides gives it back to the Blue Hens. Tigers have not had an offensive possession yet. The reason why Delaware went off for a CAA tournament game record 19 goals against Drexel in the semifinals. They have a potent offense, and you give them extra possessions, whether it's off of face-offs, turnovers, whatever. They just have so many ways to beat you.
Yeah, their efficiency as an offense is off the charts, and then Logan Premtage was around 70% in that game. That's a dangerous combination for any team to try to deal with. So Towson's going to have to settle in here and get their fair possessions.
Here comes Kobe Smith. He's going to be drafted in the PLL this upcoming week. PLL draft coming your way on Tuesday on ESPNU, and he will certainly hear his name called. He's got terrific ability defensively, and then also we've seen his transition ability throughout his career.
Yeah, he's great on ball, and his skill set translates great to the PLL. A smaller field, a 2-point line. So as a long pole, if you can get over you cross midfield, it's only a few steps before you're in range. And he has shown that he can be deadly in transition. Every PLL team wants a guy like that.
Now our first look at this Tigers offense. Here's James Avanzato, tops on the team in points in the regular season. Trying to get the hand free over to the edge. DeMeo thought about shooting it, instead holds on to it. 23 left on the shot clock. Tough angle for Avanzato is wide, but the backup is there.
That was impressive by DeMeo to not force that. That's a guy who knows he's going to get his touches on offense. Usually you see younger guys would try to force that shot, even if there's no angle. So really unselfish play to keep the offense going.
Here's the other attackman, Luke Schilling. Uses his body, and the bounce shot slides by Kilkiri. Tigers are on the board.
I love how fired up. This is a really intelligent play. You're going to get past GLE. You're going to use your body to shield the stick from the defender. And as you come around, oh, there's no slide. Okay, I'm going to use my defender to shield. You can't see where this ball's at until it's already bouncing past you. It's a brilliant play.
Luke Schilling, the transfer from Hopkins, having an opportunity to play for his dad, who's a volunteer assistant coach here with the Tigers. Fifth-year student here with Towson, and he gets them on the board here in the CAA championship as that's out of bounds off of Delaware.
Wow.
And we'll see this first midfield unit come on for Towson. Kyle Berkeley, another transfer from Maryland. He's had a terrific year. He's joined by Josh Weber. And they got Ryan Swain in there. Now, Swain had an incident the end of the Delaware game in the regular season, a 1-goal loss for Towson. He stuck the butt end of his stick as Kilkiri was able to collect this one in his crease. Took a shot at a Delaware defender. According to Sean Nadalin, he immediately apologized to the team. He was suspended for a game by the CAA. And then, to make matters worse, he then got hurt in practice as he was trying to come back the next week. So he missed back-to-back games, but he's been back in action here in the semifinals, now in the championship.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this before. We forget sometimes that these are kids. And lacrosse isn't the only thing in their lives. You never know what could be going on when emotions run high and you make a mistake, but it's good to see that he owned up to it, and it's good to see him healthy and back out there.
Ty Kurtz has a short stick matchup. He takes it behind.
Kurtz is dangerous in this situation. This invert, you don't want to ball watch because he'll find someone up top for a step down. There it is.
Just over the bar by Miller. JP Ward will track it down in the corner. Ward also had a huge semifinal. Tied a CAA record with 8 points in that semifinal game. If you haven't watched Delaware this year, he's filled in the role of Charlie Kitchen on this Delaware attack unit. All the way inside, tough shot there for Kurtz, and it's collected by Zingalia.
And none of us envy someone who has to go in and follow a Charlie Kitchen, who we can all agree is phenomenally talented offensive player for Delaware, and he has done a fantastic job of that.
Yeah, he has really stepped in top of the team in points in the regular season as Regan McNamara thought about it and then smartly decides to get into the offense.
It's always fun to watch the wheels turn, and then when that signal goes off in your head that, wait, I'm somewhere I'm definitely not supposed to be.
Well, then offside's called on Towson. They turn it over anyway. Yeah. Mark Beda matched up against an offensive midfielder, Chop Gallagher. See if Delaware tries to take advantage of this.
Chop's a great offensive-minded player. He's done very well for Towson during the backside of this season especially. But we have not seen him in this position a lot.
No, this is kind of uncharted territory for him. Beda tries to get to the middle.
He did a great job.
Now he's just trying to shut him off. That was smart. Heads up play. Going back to the matchup. Still 35 seconds of the shot clock. Beda feeds it across. One more pass to Robinson. Hand free in the middle. And that is virtually automatic. Mike Robinson scored 6 goals in the semifinal win here for Delaware. He's got one in the first in the championship game. Blue Hens off and running early. They lead 3-1. Back here in Philadelphia, Greg, let's take a look back at that goal we saw just before the break. Mike Robinson getting the hand free.
Yeah, we were talking about Chop was doing a great job on defense, but the problem is when offensive players stuck back there playing D, you tend to worry about it so much that it takes out the conformity. You're in a rush to slide, and once you slide away from Robinson, you give him a few steps that close to the cage. It's an easy goal.
See Coach Ben DeLuca in his 5th season with Delaware. He has this program back to the CAA championship for the first time since 2011. They've been a consistent performer in the regular season to get to the CAA tournament since Ben DeLuca took over for the legendary coach Bob Schillinglaw, but finally breaking through on Thursday in emphatic fashion to get here to the title game on Saturday.
Yeah, we all knew this day was coming when Coach DeLuca took over this program. What a phenomenal job. One of the most well-respected people in the game. And Delaware has been knocking on the door a while for this.
Kyle Berkeley shoots it wide. Another guy who had a nice game in that semifinal. 3 goals and an assist for 4 points. Here's Schilling, draws the slide, squeezes it inside, and the bounce shot goes off speed for Berkeley, but it counts. Back to a 1-goal game.
Wow. The stick and body control to stay out of the crease on this. He was trying to juke a couple stick fakes to try to get the goalie to just get out of the way. The problem was the goalie drops to his knees. He keeps the stick right in front of the head of the stick the whole time.
It was one-handed.
And one-handed, yeah. Just a great job in traffic against a very good goaltender. Outlasted him. It's kind of like in the NBA when an offensive player gets to the rim and he just hangs in the air long enough over the defender to let it in.
Somebody went early. It was Constantinides.
Yeah. You can see on the whistle, the referees, I'm applauding them early. In a year where we don't know what the heck we're getting each game from the referees on faceoffs, it seems to be the Wild West. But these guys are making sure the sticks are straight up and down, and they're backing out a few steps to make sure the players aren't moving. That's what the set call is supposed to be. Constantinides a little gun shy right now, and he's kind of rolling forward on off of his heels, so he's going to have to fix that.
So Delaware gets another possession. 3 different goal scorers so far for the Blue Hens: Miller, Kurtz, and Robinson. Average nearly.
Delaware really playing this invert game right now.
Yeah. Kitis, the midfielder, junior out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Now Ward. All sorts of attention on number 1 in white. Trying to find an open man, doesn't have one. Now the cut, Miller. Backed up by Delaware as we've got a flag down, so we'll get our first look at the Delaware man-up unit today.
It's interesting. Delaware's been using this invert early in the game. As soon as they're breaking GLE on the dodge, Towson's going, and then Delaware's mirroring the dodge with a man sliding back to X. So they're looking to bang it back to the spot where they dodged from and then attack the opposite side. And on that time, it made Towson actually slide with 2 guys. They were completely out of position, but they got a slash.
Man-up unit in the regular season, 10th in the country. Better than 45%. Robinson was being cut off there. Ball comes out here by midfield. That should be over and back. It is. That's Towson ball. So even down a man, the Tigers decided, hey, we're going to shut off Mike Robinson. We're not going to let him beat us on the man down. And a little confusion for Delaware, turnover. Tigers.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, right? Like, this Delaware offense is so prolific. The fact that he gets that much attention says everything you need to know about how much people respect Mike Robinson. But they seemed to go into it right away, and Delaware was not prepared. They threw the ball anyway.
Back to even strength. Delaware drops back into a zone. Schilling here on GLE. Avanzado from behind. The Tigers tie it up. There's Nick DeMeo coming off his big semifinal performance. He's got one today.
This is great recognition by the Tigers offense. Usually when a team transitions into a zone, you see the kind of like a stall and a hesitation. They look to the sideline. Towson calls it out. They go right into their zone offense, and they get the dunk, and they move the ball just like as if they were on man up.
Beautiful feed from James Avanzado, who's the top assist man for the Tigers this year. Loose ball comes all the way back to Delaware's end. This is Tate Wasson, a long pole, close defenseman who picks it up. And now Delaware can go for the clear. 10 seconds left to get it over midfield, and they do. This is what we expected in this one. A one-goal game in the regular season, though Delaware jumped out to a lead in that one. Actually led by 4 down the stretch. Towson scored the last 3 goals of the game, but came up just short in the comeback effort. A little bit more even here early today. Feed inside, Kurtz goes 5-hole. The Canadians got a pair. Blue Hens back in front.
This is a great look inside. This is going to drive Coach Nadalin, who's one of the best defenders our game has ever seen. And one of the things you can count on for Towson is great defense. But this look inside drives you nuts. This is just a simple crease pass, hands free to catch and finish. It's hard enough playing defense against a Delaware team that can snipe from the outside, let alone, giving up a shot like that.
And what we've seen here this year, when this Delaware offense is clicking, it's the off-ball movement from some of these guys. They just have such a good feel of where they can find empty space and get open.
You're absolutely right.
There's a big hit off that face-off.
Wow, I thought they were going to let it play.
No, flag down. Near side official here had it.
So that's a cross-check. I mean, he lights up Logan Prentage. I couldn't tell in real time if it was sold or not, but it looked like he got decleated with a cross-check right to the face mask. But then it looked like Delaware had possession, so I thought that they would let it keep going.
Blow the whistle dead. Our officials today, by the way, Jason McGinn, Alfred Pugh, and Matt Radaball working our CAA championship game in Philadelphia as Delaware's man up for the second time today. Kurtz feeds inside. Great crash by the Towson defense, and they force another turnover. Kobe Smith, though, has it taken away. Accioni on the ground ball. Still time on this man up, about 15, 20 seconds left. Long range shot, a save by Brennan.
Towson, very impressive on the man down so far. First time out there, they shut off Robinson, caused an immediate turnover. The second time around, it's just well scouted. They were, as Delaware was in their motion, Towson was beating them to the spots. It's like a cornerback knowing the route that your receiver's running. Just having a little bit of trouble getting this ball in the offensive zone, though.
And Kurtz pushes it forward. Transition chance for Delaware. Accioni back to Kurtz. One more pass down low, another save by Brennan. And Kobe Smith with the ground ball. Back to even strength, 2 minutes to go in the quarter.
What a save. I mean, he had to go full split for that.
And Towson keeps it. Last touch by Delaware. A timeout here on the field, and we will stay here. Tigers will keep possession with 1:48 to go. A little chaotic here, Greg.
Yeah, man. I mean, Towson caught a break there. It looks like they were going to give the ball away again after 2 awesome stops by the man down and the defense there. But now it's time to settle it down. That's a great timeout by Coach Nadalin. Let's catch our breath. Let's make this offensive set count. Try to get that last possession here in the quarter.
This is a Towson program that is very familiar with being on this stage. We mentioned it in the open. 6th time they've been in the CAA championship game in the last 7 tournaments. The only time they weren't in the championship was when they didn't make the tournament last year, just finished on the outside of the top 4. They have been remarkably consistent as you get another look at that great feed to Ty Kurtz in the middle from J.P. Ward.
Yeah, it's a great look. But like I said, a little too simple if you're Coach Nads. This just really can't happen. 2 guys in the crease, there's a miscommunication, and we put it right on the ear for the easy shot. This goaltending has been fantastic, though.
Yeah, 3 saves for Brennan already. Coming off a terrific game where he didn't have to do all that much in the semifinal. First team all CAA, along with UMass goalie Matt Note this season for Brennan. 16th in the country coming into this weekend in saves per game, and those numbers against this Delaware offense probably going to be elevated again, you would think.
Yeah, Delaware will elevate everyone's numbers.
That is for sure. So coming out of the timeout, Towson ball. Weber dodges down the alley, back to Swain, the midfielder. Back to a man-to-man look for Delaware defensively as Berkeley has to track it down. He's a terrific dodging threat. DeMeo draws the Owen Grant assignment. Conference's Defensive Player of the Year for the second straight season, Owen Grant. Another guy I think we may see play professionally in a couple of years.
Oh, absolutely.
Berkeley feeds back out top. Swain has his stick deflected. Ground ball scooped up by Kevin Lynch. He's got issues, though. Got a couple of bodies down on the turf. Last touch by Towson.
And they put Delaware in a tight spot here now. They have a short clock to get this ball over the midline.
45 seconds to go here in the quarter. Owen Grant just brings it across midfield himself. And I think they're offsides. They are. And let's see, I think we then have a flag down as well.
Delay game.
Yep.
So when they call that, you have to drop the ball immediately. And he held on to it for a while and made Towson have to kind of come for it.
So man up unit on here for Towson. "30-second extra man for the Tigers. See if they get one more good look, try to tie this up as we come to the end of the first quarter. Gallagher, Avanzato, back up top to Schilling. DeMeo on that far top of the wing. 5 seconds left of the man up. Avanzato. Schilling, no look down on the doorstep. Picked off there by Delaware. Long
Yeah,
pass
you kind of had no
ahead.
choice but to force that because it's the end of the quarter as well.
And so it brings us to the end of an entertaining opening 15 minutes of this CAA championship game. Blue Hens up by 1. It's 4-3 here on Lax Sports Network. Back in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship game on Lax Sports Network. It's 4-3 Delaware, the top seed with a 1-goal edge over the Tigers of Towson after one. Travis Eldridge, Greg Gorenlian back with you on LSN. As the face-off matchup here, Greg, has been Delaware slanted so far. Logan Premtage has done a nice job.
Yeah, Logan's very good, and he's being disciplined. You know, like I said, Matt has a habit right now of kicking his feet back, getting totally spread out. It makes his exits so much harder. And right here again, wins the clamp, but then has to get basically into a burpee to pop the ball out. And 3 times he's done that, and Delaware has checked the ball all the way to the sideline.
And so it's Blue Hens ball to start the second quarter. Delaware has not trailed in this game. Jumped ahead 2-0. Game was tied at 3. Blue Hens took a 4-3 advantage there toward the end of the first quarter. Kitus, the midfielder. Got Brandon Hund, the short stick D-midi on him. Kite is still with it. Shot clock down to 30. Linkaitis nearly lost it. Now they will as Zingalia picks up the ground ball and Brennan collects.
Towson really dropping in real tight on that defensive run there. Delaware seemed a little confused. It almost brought them in too tight to each other, making the passes too short. End up turning it over. Now Towson ball.
Yeah, it's like good basketball teams. You need some spacing, and there just wasn't a lot of that on that possession.
Yeah, everyone seemed way too close together.
Berkeley looking for a skip pass. It's intercepted by Kevin Lynch. You know, Greg, we've seen this at times throughout this season. Sometimes it's a little more free-flowing in that first quarter, and then the tension starts to build once you get in the second. Everything a little tighter.
Yeah, you know, I'm not so old that I don't remember what it was like on college game days. And I remember that first goal being so important. And you can almost like, your nerves can't take it because you want to score the first goal so badly. Delaware almost did everybody a favor by getting it done in about 5 seconds. And then you're right, everyone loosened up and they just started playing lacrosse. But then you look at the scoreboard after that first quarter, like, man, it's a tight game. And then, you know, some guys might be thinking about, oh, you see CAA championship all over the place. It can get in your head.
Unfazed is Ty Kurtz. He's got a first-half hat trick. This is a really strong team.
Next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know you're going to get hit. He inverts. We said it. They're going to keep going to this invert. He's laying a little bit of a punishment, too, with his momentum. But they obviously saw something on the scout that makes them very confident in this invert because they've been doing it all first half so far with success.
Constantinides trying to pull it out. And a flag down. That's third violation here in this first half on Matt Constantinides.
Yep. So this is, once again, kicks back. He has the ball lodged in the throat, and because he was grinding it a little bit, that head gets all warped out. Logan Premtage did a good job. He forced him into a counter, and when Constantinides got to his feet and tried to pop the ball out, it didn't come out clean on the first try. So he had to shake the head a little bit. That is an infraction. That's withholding, and that's the third one of the half. So now the big deal is there's 12 minutes left in the half. Every further infraction, false start or otherwise, is going to be another 30-second man up for Delaware. That's a big deal.
Yeah, especially with this Delaware man up unit. Top 10 in the country in the regular season. Already have a man up goal here today. Kurtz on the wing. Accioni. Beta top the box. Linkaitis shot deflected on its way through. But the backup is there. Cam Accioni, the sophomore out of the Hill Academy up in Canada. Had a terrific freshman season. He and his twin brother Matt, both part of this Delaware Blue Hens program. Ward looking for a cutter, had Robinson. We're back to even strength here. Robinson, long run across, trying to get that left hand free. Credit to Towson, didn't let him. Beta backs his way in, and that's a crease violation.
Great hold by Towson. Another good job, man down. Stays the course again. And now their offense, it's their turn to make it count.
Brennan with a nice clearing pass ahead. We'll see the second midfield unit for the Tigers. Austin Stewart on. Number 0 in black, Chop Gallagher. Had a couple of goals versus UMass in the semifinal win. Chop, the Portland, Oregon native.
Yeah, his father is actually a very talented artist who works for Nike. Their house out there has some of the coolest things you're going to ever see on a front lawn, I'll tell you that much. Great family of hardworking lacrosse players.
They're going to bring this one back. Chop Gallagher, speaking of Nike, hit everybody with the Last Dance meme as a celebration on Thursday night on his final goal. The guy who gambles with Michael Jordan, the security guard, he hit him with a little shrug. Here's Owen Grant, who picks up the ground ball. He's dangerous in transition. Nice job by Towson to get back. Grant circles. Grant right to the cage. A whistle. Delaware called timeout. They did. Ben DeLuca did not like what he was seeing in that situation. Said, you know what? Let's keep the possession. We'll take the timeout as well. Delaware with a 2-goal lead, 5-3 here early in the second. Well, the umbrellas are out here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Pretty steady rain, very windy, but it's CAA Championship Saturday here on LSN, and it's Delaware ball after they called the timeout. I would assume Owen Grant came over to Coach DeLuca on the sideline and said, hey, Coach, you know I had that.
Yeah, once you do the one big circle and turn around, that's when everyone starts questioning what's going on. It was a great timeout right there. Big lacrosse day in Philly. You got this game here, and then the Wings are playing tonight as well. I don't think they're playing at home, but
no, they're on the road.
Implications there on the road as well.
And also St. Joe's in action in the NEC championship game. They're in the fourth quarter against Hobart as Brennan comes up with the save. So Philadelphia, a place that we both know and love, Greg. Had a lot going on here this weekend as Towson gets his stop.
Yeah, St. Joe's seems to have things in hand in that game. They're up 13-5 over Hobart, although Adam Shea, shout out for Hobart's faceoff, and Adam Shea is over 50% today against that St. Joe's faceoff unit.
Yeah, that's a big win, and here's a win. Josh Weber has his first of the day. Tigers back within one.
And away we go. CAA battle. We wouldn't expect anything less here. Nothing fancy. Dodge, bear in. Shot placement is beautiful to that low corner. That's fine defense. It's just a really good shot. And also, something we don't expect, these goalies aren't going to let a lot of those go by. The elements are what they are right now.
Turnover for Delaware if they got a face-off win. That was Roland Hockenberry that took that face-off for the Blue Hens. And another chance for Towson to pull even. Real quick, back to St. Joe's. Good for them if they are able to finish this one off. Team that's been in that NEC championship game so much hasn't been able to win in the postseason. Punch their ticket at the NCAA tournament. Taylor Ray, gonna be an awesome moment for him in that program.
Yeah, well deserved. Coach Ray, well respected. Really good job that he's done over there at St. Joe's. They've had some great wins this year too. They deserve to be in the tournament after the season they've had.
Yeah, both of these teams get a test. Delaware played a 1-goal game against St. Joe's, a win. St. Joe's getting the best of Towson 11-8 back in March. So St. Joe's honorary member of the CAA this year. Also played Drexel in a wild game that we saw here at Vitus Field earlier in the season.
That's right.
Here's Kyle Kavinsky dodging the short stick. Now Zingalia picks him up. Now Kurtz.
So you can see right now when someone is looking to invert, they start to go past GLE. The shorties are swapping with the LSMs immediately.
On the run, that one wide from Nick Jessen.
That was a great split dodge to get his hands free.
Ward draws the matchup with Kobe Smith. Ward gets the win, but he missed the shot.
It's a great dodge from behind. It's really, I don't care how good of a defender you are, it is a lot to ask to have to keep going back and forth behind that cage laterally.
Oh my goodness, Ty Kurtz is feeling it today. He's heating up. 4 goals here in this first half.
And he just willed this one home. He got to his spot, had his steam.
Man.
If he drove in there one more time, we were going to get a ward call, but he rolled right in there. And once again, really smart. We've seen it a couple times from both teams using their own defender as a screen around that 5x5.
It was Premtaj who went early.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Travis. I was going to say that in the last one. Premtaj has been doing a great job. I think he was 8 for 10. And then he didn't take the last face-off, and you might think, okay, you're giving him a break. Well, you don't really need to give him a break. They've only taken 10 face-offs. But that now takes you out of the game for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then you go back in there on cold weather. It makes sense that you would false start. So, you know, that's what I was interested that they took him out for 1 face-off.
I think this is going to be a free clear for Delaware on that whistle. It is, and we're back in play for Mark Beta and company.
After a great save, too, by the way. I was talking while it was a phenomenal save.
Technically the first save of the game for Matt Kilkeary. Kurtz saved by Brennan. And this is the thing about Delaware that makes him so difficult. I mean, you got Kurtz and Robinson and Ward. All 3 of them could go off for 5-6 goals in a game and not blink.
Yep.
So it's pick your poison.
Yeah. And it's one of those situations where you're like, who do we pull? Which pull do we put on them? They all have the ability to dodge. They all have the ability to shoot. So if you're not specifically outfitted personnel-wise for this offense, it can be a real terrible day for you. Towson is doing a pretty good job, though.
Here's Beta.
And they're talking inside, a lot of cuts. You've said it before. Delaware's so good at moving off ball, and Towson's hanging with those off-ball guys right now.
Regan McNamara as Beta sprints back defensively. Tigers will get their offensive personnel on. 6-4 game, under 5 minutes to go in this first half. CAA championship from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on LSN. Travis Eldridge, Greg Gorenlian with you. Stewart dodges and now sends it behind the cage. John Bender flashing, so is Avanzado, nothing there.
You can tell he's sitting there by himself because as a defender, if you pick the wrong side of the cage, he can dodge. So you just say, all right, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to let this shot clock do the work. The only problem is his hands are free, and that's when you just see cutters going crazy. Delaware did a good job causing that turnover there.
There's a loose ball push that gives the Blue Hens the ball. Grant brings it over midfield. Chesson, Kavinsky, and Accioni on for this midfield line for Delaware. Kavinsky, the senior! A low to the side, shot to the side of the post. He's got his first.
Man, everybody's getting involved. This spin and crank around the defender's hip is becoming a theme for both teams in this game. Boom, boom, boom. Put that foot in the dirt, turn, and then rotate those hips straight around the defender. And you can see there's just no way you're going to know where that ball's going until the last second.
Constantinides with the clean win.
Towson needed that face-off win. Now they get a chance. Pull a little bit tighter here before halftime.
3-goal deficit, the largest deficit for the Tigers in this championship game. Weber back out. Berkeley. It was a tough catch. Pass just a little off for him. Interesting. They got DeMeo on a short stick here. Essentially just isolating him on the right side. Got the left hand free, but is there a backup? No.
And that is what's interesting sometimes when you're an offensive player who's very good and you're used to getting a pull. The defense throws a shorty at you and you almost feel obligated to take the shot. Almost like you have to make it happen because you're never going to get this chance again. And it looked like that was a little bit of a forced rush by DeMeo, and Delaware ends up with it.
I believe we
now
have
it looks
an
like
offsides call coming.
Yeah.
So the Blue Heads are going to take their time. We got 50 seconds of the shot clock. They can take this down and then get the penalty to try to take time off this first half clock. .20 seconds left to go for Ward here on the shot clock. Kobe Smith all up in his grill. Now Kurtz, he's been hot. Kurtz did it again! He's got 5 goals in the first half.
Woo! Kurtz, have yourself a day, kid. He's in the zone. Once again, around GLE. How many goals have we seen so far in this first half in that exact spot? Guys either rolling into their shot to blind the goalie or just coming from GLE on a hard dodge. Kurtz is a force right now.
Ty Kurtz is a guy that when he gets hot shooting, and we saw it the first time he was on this field this year against Drexel in the regular season, went off for 8 goals and 9 points. He's got 5 in this first half. And he is leading the way for the Blue Hens, who lead by 4. You mentioned Delaware back in the CAA championship game for the first time since 2011. Greg, a bit has changed since the last time Delaware was in that CAA championship game. Your beloved Nittany Lions were in this conference. You had Syracuse, who was playing in the Big East. The Big Ten didn't even think about lacrosse yet. I mean, that is how long it's been since Delaware has been playing on this stage.
How long it's been and how fast this sport is changing, right?
That too.
Unbelievable. I mean, I played with Penn State when we were in the ECAC. Don't even Google that because you'll see how old I am. But it's incredible like to think that it's been that long for Delaware, first off, because like we said, since Coach DeLuca's taken over, this team has been really, really good. And we've talked a lot about their offense, but they're a complete team. And we're going to start seeing more and more Blue Hens that are going to be playing in the professional ranks because of what Coach DeLuca and his staff are doing.
Yeah, this has been an impressive job that Ben DeLuca has done since taking over this program. Making their first trip here to the championship game and also trying to make now their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2011. That one hit a Delaware player in the helmet, popped free. And it's Blue Hens ball.
Yeah, Towson player stepped out of the box too early. I can tell you right now, I was never much of a yelling type of guy at my teammates, but I lost my mind a couple times when you lose a face-off because a guy came out of the box too early.
That's a tough one.
That drives you nuts. But Delaware, their unit is doing a great job. Like I said, when Constantinides really kicks out into that tripod, as he jumps to his feet to exit, it just seems like there's more white shirts around every time that ball pops out.
So there's only about an 8-second difference between the shot clock and game clock here at the end of this first half. So Delaware going to eat a bunch of time with this 4-goal lead and then attempt to get maybe one good look. You see if you can get a rebound in the final 8 to 10 seconds of the first half, but then you take away the possibility that Towson gets one going the other way.
Yeah.
We'll go with about 15 on the shot clock. Here comes the slide. Beta looking there for Ward. Pass was deflected. And that's over and back. Still a few more seconds here for Towson if they get something real quick. Berkeley's looking for the whistle to play on. Here we go. Got to get something off in a hurry, and good defense there by Wasson. Less than a second to go here in this first half. Grant will send it. And that is how this opening 30 minutes comes to an end. A terrific second quarter by Ty Kurtz and Delaware. A 4-1 run in that second frame. Kurtz leading the way with 5 goals in the first half. And the Blue Hens in the championship game for the first time since 2011, they got a 4-goal lead at the break. Back here in a rainy Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 8-4 your score. The top seed Delaware Blue Hens with a 4-goal edge over Towson at the break. Travis Eldridge and Greg Gorenlian back with you. Earlier this week, the CAA announcing the conference's offensive and defensive players of the year. On offense, a guy we saw here in the semifinals on Thursday, Drexel's Jack Mulcahy, the midfielder, one of the top scorers in the conference. He had a terrific season, Greg.
He is so phenomenally talented, and he has every tool. Like he can look off and find the guys that are cutting to the ball. He can get his own shot off of a dodge. If you leave his hands free, he can bury it. He's got a complete game, and he catches everything that you throw his way.
So a well-deserved honor despite the disappointing end for Mulcahy and Drexel losing in the semifinals here to Delaware. Here's the rest of the first team. We mentioned Owen Grant. He was the defensive player of the year in this conference for the second straight year. Impressive considering you're playing in a conference with Kobe Smith, too. The two of them, not only two of the best defenders in the CAA, but maybe two of the best guys in the country.
Oh, absolutely. And CAA is known for its defense. So when you make first team all CAA as a defender, it means you're super legit.
And on offense, you see the names there, Avanzano, J.P. Ward, that we're seeing here in this championship game. And the freshman of the year in the CAA, Jack McKenna out of Fairfield, actually led the conference in goals in his first year on campus for the Stags. He is a name to remember as we look ahead to next year. Bright future for him and the Stags, who just missed out on making this CAA tournament here this season. But for now, we are getting ready for the second half of this CAA championship game in 2022. Delaware 30 minutes away for their first title since 2011. Second half coming up in a bit here on LSN. 8-4 your halftime score in the 2022 CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship here on Lax Sports Network. Taking a look at some of these first half stats. Greg, the face-offs pretty dominant for Delaware so far. They've won 10 of 14, and you've had the issues with Constantinides in terms of violations that cost them a penalty. That's been a key part of this 4-goal edge for Delaware so far.
Yeah, and it's the Delaware entire face-off unit. Logan Premtage has done a good job, but the Delaware unit as a whole has been all over the exit. So even when Matt Constantinides gets the clamp, when he pops the ball out, it's all Delaware on these ground balls.
Offensively, anything that you look at from this first half for Towson in terms of adjustments to try to get some better looks? Just the 5 shots on goal in this first half.
Yeah, I think that's a little indicative of the face-off advantage, but also they threw the ball away a few times on the clears. So they're not getting the possessions that they're accustomed to. So they're going to have to be more efficient. When they do have the ball and they run the offense, they're doing a good job. But they just haven't had the ball down there settled as much as they're used to.
Credit to Shane Brennan, the Towson goalie, made 7 saves in that first half, despite the fact he got the firing squad from Delaware, but keeping the Tigers in it. They trail by 4 because Ty Kurtz has been going off. The senior from Ontario with 5 first-half goals for the Blue Hens, leading the way. We'll have second half action when we come back here at the CAA Championship from Philly on LSN. Back here at a windy, rainy Vitus Field on the campus of Drexel University, getting ready to start the second half of this championship game. Delaware with an 8-4 lead over Towson in the CAA title. Travis Eldridge, Greg Gurenlian back with you here on Lax Sports Network, as it's Premtage and Constantinides back out to take the face-off to open up this second half.
Yeah, if you're Towson, you're going to have to try to figure out a couple of things. One, how can we get the ball out quicker on these face-offs so that we have space to get our possessions? 2, how do we clean up our clear a little bit so we can make sure that we maintain the ball after we make big stops? And 3, how do we make Delaware initiate their offense from on top above the goal rather than from behind? Because they are just killing Towson with inverts, and they're killing them from driving from GLE and shooting around the defenders. And that's more of what we're looking for from Constantinides in the second half. Quick, in and out, try to get the ball out of there instead of kicking your feet out.
They have to take it all the way back into the corner as that flip went over the head of Zingalia. They got to get it over midfield. A couple more seconds to do so. Just got past the stretch of Kurtz, but they're offsides.
I really thought we checked 2 of those boxes quickly.
Oh, never mind. And we just got a flag on Towson. I don't think Reese Potter gave him enough space there on the restart.
Yeah, that's going to be a delay game. And I think the official was pretty upset about it because he just threw that flag about 30 yards.
And Reese is not helping his case by asking for more clarification. So he heads to the box. 32nd man up for Delaware. All the momentum going the Blue Hens' way. They scored 4 of the 5 goals in the second quarter.
I can tell you from experience as a college lacrosse player, getting your coach upset by making a penalty is one thing. But then arguing with the ref afterwards is a fantastic way to get absolutely chewed out on the sideline.
Here's Kurtz. He had those 5 goals in the first half. His pass deflected. Robinson's been quiet, just the 1 goal.
Well, that's what we talked about in the pregame, right? Robinson was our featured offensive player, but if you take the resources of and use them to stop him, you're going to give up goals from other people because there's just so much talent.
Oh, man, that's a killer. They kill off the penalty. They get the ball, but it's a hold on Towson that gives it back to Delaware for a fresh possession.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about at halftime with the stats. Like, they're just not getting the ball on offense enough. That's why they have such a small amount of shots. They're doing a great job on defense. They're doing a great job in their effort on the field. We can't give this team that many man-ups and that many looks at the goal.
And another flag down.
After another great save.
And so man down unit comes on again for Towson.
So this is man up number what for Delaware here?
I've lost track. Our stats I think this is the 5th penalty on Towson in this game so far.
So this is a 5th man up for Delaware, and they're still in this game somehow. I mean, that would usually be a death sentence.
Yeah, I mean, they were up around 47% in the regular season.
Yeah.
Skip down to the doorstep. Beta now trying to skip it through. That's deflected off of a Towson stick. Looking for JP Ward down there. Kurtz. Linkaitis. Still 32 seconds on the minute penalty. Kurtz down low. Nice recovery by Towson. Beta gets it back. Skip pass across. Good catch by Linkaitis. Now Ward looking for something. 10 seconds left on the extra man. Beta trying to body his way in. Now Ward feeds. Accioni's shot saved by Brennan. Resets the shot clock. It's a miscommunication on Towson defensively. Nobody picked up the ground ball except for Michael Robinson.
Man, and this psychologically starts to wear you down because you're used to practicing for about 80 seconds at a time on defense. So when you don't get the ball after big saves or you make great job, I mean, you made Delaware, who is a prolific man-up offense, start dodging on you. They're getting so frustrated.
And they get another stop. That shot off the side of the cage. Now can Towson clear? They've played 3 minutes of defense to start this quarter. Kyle Berkeley says, yeah, I'm just going to do this myself. Berkeley, nobody picks him up. Berkeley shoots high. Kobe Smith is still on. Smith wants to try. Kobe Smith saved by Kilkiri. And you got a Towson player that ends up in the crease. That's a loose ball push. That is not a smart play for Delaware.
Yeah, because that was a back-breaking moment. For Towson, you just played 3 minutes of defense, and they took 2 shots in 15 seconds. And Delaware could have just gotten the ball right back on offense on a really tired defense, and they lost that opportunity now.
So now the Tigers will get the full complement of offensive players on the field. This is Josh Weber, part of the starting midfield unit today. Now Berkeley. Split dodge on Owen Grant. Berkeley gets into the middle, taken down in the process. And now we have a flag on Delaware.
This is a great take by Berkeley. It's a physical, imposing dodge, and he doesn't accept a low angle. He forces his way, and a lot of times you'll see attackmen will just kind of fade past the goal line extended and take their own angle away. And Berkeley refused to accept that. And by doing that and imposing his will, he gave Delaware almost no choice but to foul.
So let's see if the Tigers can cash in on an extra man chance early in the second half. Joe Spears, the LSM in the box, sophomore out of Illinois. This would be a huge goal for Towson. Just need some momentum at this point of the game. Still a lot of time. They just haven't had a ton of good looks last couple of quarters. Schilling to DeMayo from long range. It's wide. The backup stays here. That was a good run out by Delaware, though. Schilling steps down, and Kilkiri saw it the whole way.
See, and that's what great defense by Delaware. Kilkiri's got 3 saves already in this quarter, but three shots on goal. That's more than half the amount of shots they had all last half. So if Towson gets the ball and clears across, when they make their defensive stops, if they can hold on to it, then they can get their shots and their offense can handle it. Their offense can stay in this game. They just have to be smart the rest of the time. Now they got the ball back again.
Turnover in the clear for Delaware. We're back to even strength. Either team cashing in on the extra mans here early in the third. John Bender, full head of steam, as looks like Delaware's dropped back into a zone look. Bender now to Avanzato. Now Schilling from the wing. He's got a short stick matchup. We saw him score already today as he skips it back out top. That one blocked in front. And great recognition by Kilkiri. The goalie was one of the few guys that knew where that ball was going, and he backs it up.
Yeah, he ran 25 yards on a dart to be closest to that ball.
Nick Jessen sprints it across midfield. No goals in the first 6 minutes of the second half. Kavinsky takes a shot from Colby Bars. Now Bars runs over a pick. Kavinsky, short stick matchup, takes his man behind. Towson's got help defensively, shoots wide. And there was there a flag down? I think we got another man up coming for Delaware.
Man.
The 32nd man up for the Blue Hens. So another extra man opportunity for Delaware. And they finally cash in. They've had now, this is number 3 of the second half already?
Yeah.
It's too many players.
It feels like the whole time they've been on offense, they've been on man up this half.
Yeah, it was too many players on Towson. That was the penalty. That shot is stopped by Brennan. Loose ball. Brennan's got to get back into the crease. Somehow Brandon Hunn wins it, but he didn't realize it got taken away. Great check.
So they killed off another penalty. I mean, I can't believe it. I have to be honest. I mean, I know Towson's defense is fantastic.
Brennan again.
He's playing great. This defense and defensive midfield unit as a whole needs to make sure that these balls end up in the offensive zone without offsides if this team has any hope of winning this game today. Because the offense is moving. They're doing a great job of rotating. They're getting the ball around. They're forcing Delaware to have to shift and slide. They just got to start burying a couple of these.
10 saves now for Shane Brennan, who's in double figures. Chop Gallagher, see if he's an answer offensively. Bender. Delaware's done a nice job on DeMayo today. Done a good job on Avanzato as well. He hasn't been able to get going. Bender inside Stewart, bounce shot is high.
Yeah, I mean, Towson has the right idea. They're getting the slides to come. Then they're immediate. They're not hesitating. The ball's not dying in their stick. They're banging it to the opposite side of the field and re-dodging. Delaware's effort on getting back and replacing is what's helping them to stop these offensive runs from happening.
Down to 11 seconds on this shot clock for Towson. Avanzado will give it a run. Goal line extended. That hit Kilkiri, so it should have reset the shot clock, I think. It does, because Delaware picks it up anyway.
Yeah, it's good lacrosse. When there's 6-on-6 going on in this game right now, it's very good lacrosse. And, you know, if Towson cleans up the clears, we're going to see both of these teams, if they can get one to drop, because now the goaltenders are starting to feel themselves too.
Pass too high. Delaware turns it back over. Still no goals in this third quarter yet. Oh, no, they'll rule that was deflected. Sean Nadelin doesn't agree.
It did in real time kind of look like the ball skipped up in the air a little bit higher, like unnaturally.
Yeah. So it stays with Delaware. Cam Accioni floats it behind. Ward, skip pass back out top. Jessen, another save by Brennan. He's been up to the challenge in this third quarter so far.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. It's up to the offense now to make it happen. They've got to get going and finishing some of these offensive motions that they've got going on. Like we said, they're getting their hands free. They're getting some shots off. I feel like Delaware's doing a great job of recovering just enough so that these shots aren't totally clear hands, or they're shooting it a little bit, like a step earlier than they want to. And a lot of that is just effort on Delaware's part when they're playing defense. Looks like they're dropping into a zone here.
Slipped. There did Avanzado, and it ends up in a Delaware stick. Run away from everybody's Kevin McCormick.
Man, when you're thinking, you're after today, and you go back and watch this game, and this particular quarter, they have stopped all of Delaware's man-up opportunities. They've won the one face-off that was taken. And Delaware's thrown the ball away. I think 3 to 4 turnovers on Delaware's part.
Yeah.
And Towson hasn't capitalized once. That's got to be frustrating.
Oh, for sure. They've had multiple opportunities here in the third to build on the momentum the defense has given them. It's Clay Miller with a short stick. Now Kurtz looking for his sixth, one-handed. Oh, that's incredible. A six-pack of goals for Ty Kurtz, the Canadian, doing it in style. Who needs two hands when you got one? We're not far here at Drexel University from the Philadelphia Art Museum, the steps that Rocky made so famous. Well, the goal we just saw, it may as well be hanging in that museum. Ty Kurtz, the senior from Ontario, for his sixth goal of the day, goes one-handed wrapping around Craig. This is just phenomenal.
Keeps it low. The goalie drops down. He thinks, okay, low and away, and just the grip strength to then hike it up top, right over his shoulder.
It's one of the best goals you'll see today.
Absolutely.
Hit that on SportsCenter. Ty Kurtz, his now CAA tournament game tying record, 6 goals. He ties his teammate Mike Robinson, who did it earlier this weekend in the semifinal win over Drexel, and it's a 5-goal lead for Delaware as they win the faceoff. Ball still loose here. Ward comes to get it. Flipped. Loose in the middle. And now Delaware with the possession. McCormick! Bounce shot saved by Brennan. And he keeps it out.
Wow. That was an unbelievable series because it ended in the point attackman being a long pole. And I have never seen that in lacrosse. I have no idea how that happened.
Towson turns it over.
Some serious things have to go wrong for that to happen. What a save by Brennan.
Well, it took us a while to get our first goal of the second half, Greg, but I think that was worth the wait.
Man, and you and I were talking about it earlier. You got to be kicking yourself. If you're Towson, you're sitting there going, man, we had all these opportunities to get that first goal of the half, which is so important. And it took Kurtz going straight up top 10 mode, and now Delaware's got a 5-goal lead.
Brennan again!
I'm going to be honest with you. Without Brennan today, you and I would be coming up with some things to talk about because it would be a blowout. He has been unbelievable.
13 saves now for the 6th-year goalie for the Tigers, Shane Brennan. I mean, he is putting in a special performance just to keep his team in it.
He is not ready to be done playing lacrosse.
No.
It's very obvious.
Now the question is,
he needs to find a way to will the offense
to
do the same.
Yeah, what do you have on offense? They've not scored a goal in the second half. They only had one in the second quarter. It has been quite the scoring drought. Schilling, he's got one already today. Swain, now on the wing, it's Berkeley. Rolls in, shoots wide. Back up is Towson. And in that race,
great hustle to make sure that ball stays here.
Yeah, had to have it.
So now if you're Towson, you're doing a good job of banging the ball around. The problem is Delaware is really sloughing in sometimes, and it's causing Towson to get too condensed. And it's happened a few times in this game. Instead of staying spread out, keep their shape right there. I mean, that was like a 5-yard pass.
And they're not able to keep it over on their half of midfield. You're right. There's just too much congestion in front. There's no space to operate.
Yeah, and that only really happens if you trust your goalie that you can do that as a defense. And they're daring Towson to stay spread out and shoot the ball from the outside off of the pass. And Towson has some guys that can do it, but I feel like they're getting caught up in feeling like they have to make contact with their defender in order to shoot. It's playing right into Delaware's hands.
So Delaware can hold for this final possession of the third quarter if they won. Game clock is lower than the shot clock is. Exactly what Drew Linkaitis is going to do. Defended by Jordan Hayes. Take it with about 20 seconds to play. Now draws a double team. Kobe Smith comes over. Down to 10. Kurt sets the screen. Ward. Got to just throw something in front at this point. No shot there. And so it's another stop for Towson to end the third quarter, but they did not cut into this lead at all. Delaware actually extending it in the third frame. Blue Hens, 15 minutes from their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2011. Thanks to this effort from Ty Kurtz. One of the best goals you'll see all weekend. 6 goals for Kurtz, a 5-goal Delaware lead. Well, if you're a Delaware fan in the stands, it's a little bit more bearable, the weather. It's okay getting wet because your team is 15 minutes from a trip to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011. A 5-goal Blue Hens lead as we start the fourth quarter, the CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship game. Tigers have a lot of work to do. They want to get back in this thing. Travis Eldridge, Greg Gorenlian back with you on Lax Sports Network.
Premtage with a big face-off win. And now, if you're Towson, not only are you trying to figure out ways to score and stop this offense of Delaware, but you're also staring at the clock and you're sweating because you're losing time. And this is where, as a player, you start to think about all the thrown away passes, all the stupid little penalties. Like, it's an emotional fourth quarter. You got to make sure that you can focus on the task at hand and get things done.
Nick Jessen dodges down the alley, now behind DeWard. Looking for a cutter.
As a whole, Towson's done a great job today on the crease cutting. They've given up that one soft crease goal, which happened to be a great play. Other than that, they've done a pretty good job stopping the passing lanes, not just on 6-on-6, but on man up and man down.
Kavinsky rolls back to the left. Bounce shot, another stop by Brennan. But it resets the shot clock to 60 as it goes out of bounds, and it's backed up by Delaware. Now they can eat up some more time.
Tell you what, Travis, if you saw highlights of Brennan from today, you'd probably be shocked that that 9 goals went in.
Yeah, he's been that good.
Yeah.
He's been super locked in here in the second half. He's only given up 1 goal. His offense just hasn't done anything for him yet. Jessen, another save by Brennan. That draws a flag. Delaware thought they were going to get the possession back, but the hit was high.
Yeah, loose ball comes through. Yeah, it looks like the top of his helmet to the ear hole.
It's like in football where you talk about targeting like the crown of the helmet. That was that to a T.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm personally grateful that I got to play lacrosse when that was still okay.
So here we go. Did Towson get one back?
So now Towson has their chance, right?
Shot eaten up. Reed Kurtz comes away with it.
And that is backbreaking. Towson was on man up for 3 seconds. Couldn't get it on goal.
Now Mike Robinson can just play keep away. Chance to kill off the rest of this Kyle Kavinsky penalty. About 8 seconds left. We're back to even strength and still 40 seconds to work for Delaware offensively. And we've talked a lot about this Blue Hens offense, and they've been good, but a lot of credit to the Delaware defense, too.
That's a great point because we've talked about all the star power this offense has.
Beta, he got the bouncer to go. It's taking something special to beat Brennan. Just enough. Delaware hits 10.
Yeah, the placement on this shot is absolutely perfect. Brennan dropping down, ball goes down. And as they say, bouncers will go. But like you were just saying, on the defensive side of the ball, Delaware has been fantastic. And it's not been a case of Towson not playing good offense because they have been moving the ball, distributing, and doing their thing. Delaware has just been completely up to the task. And even when it looks like Towson has an open shot, it gets rushed because of the effort. And we talked about that a couple times during the game. I think when you have such an amazing offense, it's easy to get overshadowed as a defense. And Delaware's defense absolutely deserves a ton of credit for today's performance. And it bodes well if they pull this out and go into the tournament. That's a complete team right here. And don't let all the offensive firepower confuse you. This is a complete team that can make a run.
Another stick in a passing lane by Kevin Lynch. I mean, remember, this is a team that in the preseason was a top 20 team in most of the preseason polls. There were high expectations for Delaware. They hit some rough spots in the early going, had a tough loss to Duke, got blown out at Michigan. Both games where Coach Ben DeLucas said they were good learning experiences for this team, dealing with some of those expectations. And here, despite they dropped 0-2 in CAA play, they were backs against the wall for pretty much the entirety of the last 4 weeks. Had to win games just to stay alive, and now they are 10 minutes away from winning a CAA championship.
Yeah, I know, guys who were back from last year after that heartbreaking situation, not making it to the championship, not winning that CAA. When, to be honest, a lot of us thought they were the front runner most of the season.
Yeah, they were.
Good redemption story.
7 seconds left of this shot clock for Ward. Long range shot is wide, doesn't touch anything, and that's going to be a shot clock violation on the Blue Hens. Yeah, they were upset by Hofstra in the semifinals last year. Determined not to let that happen again. And they certainly made that clear in the dominating win in the semis on Thursday over Drexel. By the way, having to do it for the second straight year, just unfortunately as the top seed on the 4 seed's home turf. Another turnover by Towson. They just are all out of sorts offensively.
Yeah, we really thought that wasn't going to be the case with some of the firepower they brought in for the transfer portal this year on offense. But once again, I think a healthy combination of their own mistakes, getting the ball on offense, and Delaware's stifling defense has led to, this situation. Because when you're looking at, game, if you talk to Towson before the game, you say, look, we're going to give up 10 goals against Delaware. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely take that. I just don't think they thought that, they weren't going to be able to get their offense going.
Great feed into Kavinsky. Backhand is wide. No backup. At this point, Towson just needs to get one.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had a lot of goals in the second half, period. Towson's last goal came with 8 minutes and 24 seconds to go in the first half. Talking about 2 quarters worth of scoreless lacrosse.
Yeah, it's tough. And it was aided by starting the second half off with like 3-man downs in a row.
Yeah. I mean, Towson did the same thing to UMass in the semifinal on Thursday. It was a 1-goal game. They scored on a couple of man-up goals early in the third quarter, and all of a sudden the game just completely flipped. Berkeley, checked by Grant, gets rid of it. Good ball movement. DeMeo, one more pass. Swain couldn't get a shot off. 25
this is kind
to
of
shoot.
Indicative. That possession was indicative of what Delaware's done all day. Towson just played great offense. They dodged. Every pass was right on the ear, stick to stick to stick, got it back to the backside, and just Delaware recovered, and they were just all over them again. That's usually when you're playing good offense. By the time that passing marathon ends, there's an open shot. And it hasn't been the case because Delaware has done a great job of communicating and recovering throughout the whole game.
Yeah, really terrific defensive stand here by Delaware, led by the conference's Defensive Player of the Year, Owen Grant, for the second straight year. J.P. Ward, sophomore from Maryland, feeds in front. Another save by Brennan. 15 now. And they get something in transition. Berkeley feeds the point man and shot high.
See, like even there, that was like a pure 4-on-3, and you saw Delaware just sprint as hard as they could back into the hole, and they end up giving up a far point shot instead of that usual extra pass down to near GLE for the one-on-one against the goalie. They've made everything just a little bit harder for Towson.
Avanzado shoots high. Rebound picked up by Stewart. DeMeo trying to get something. Just the one goal today. Twister shot, no. The rebound picked up by Towson. Still 20 to shoot. Chop Gallagher wants something. He can't get hands free. Comes Owen Grant to double team. Shot clock down to 10. Gallagher, long range shot, and finally, the Tigers end about a half of scoreless Lacrosse. Their 5th goal of the afternoon takes us to a timeout here on the field. 5:40 to go. Delaware up by 5, the CAA championship. Remember, we've got more championship action for you coming up tomorrow on LSN. The CAA Women's Championship presented by Primus. Top 2 seeds still alive there as well. The top seed Tigers from Towson taking on the 2 seed Drexel right here at Vitas Field in Philadelphia. You can see it noon Eastern time here on LSN. Tom Eschen and Kelly Berger with you for that championship game, as somebody will punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament on the women's side as well this weekend in the conference. And Towson build on the momentum of finally getting a goal? The answer is no. Sider comes out of it with the ground ball.
It's been a very complete game by Delaware. Their special teams face-off unit has done a great job. Their man-up has been stifled a little bit by Towson, surprisingly. That's literally probably the worst thing that's happened for them today, is that they've been on a lot of man-ups.
Yeah.
They haven't scored a lot because their defense, their goaltending, their face-off unit has all been great.
Ball poked down Accioni's stick for his second as Towson sends some double teams. Delaware just trying to eat some clock here. They have a 5-goal lead as we're under 5 minutes to play. Accioni beats his man. He's open. Everybody leaves him alone, and Cam Accioni scores. He took a shot. Afterward, paid the price. And Cam Accioni puts Delaware back up by 6.
Yeah, this is one of those, I know I'm supposed to be running off some clock here, but Coach, how am I not going to take this? It's got the wind knocked out of him a little bit. You get that close to the goal, you can expect a little bit of contact, but what a great finish. Even Brennan was kind of like, are you guys serious? Are you really serious? Are you going to let him shoot this close to me?
So Cam will get helped out by the training staff on the sideline as Towson gets a possession. Kyle Berkeley, split dodge. Tosses back out top, deflected again. Joe Spears stick in the passing lane, and he scoops up the ground ball.
Yep. I mean, should have been a routine pass, and everything's been difficult today for Towson. And this is going to be one of those fun films to watch. Coach DeLuca is going to point at this and say, this is what we're capable of. And this is why nobody wants to play this team come tournament time.
Yeah, it feels like maybe last year Delaware was playing their best lacrosse before the tournament. It feels like this year Delaware is certainly playing their best lacrosse now.
Yeah, I think the 2021 swagger's back.
And remember, they took down Hopkins in a terrific game on Sunday night here on LSN earlier this year. They were battle-tested in the non-conference. You mentioned the Michigan and Duke games. Played St. Joe's, another tournament team this year. Villanova, a team that played in the Big East Championship here today. Another team that made Delaware battle-tested. They will be ready to go.
This team has everything that you need to be successful in the tournament. Now it's just a matter of, now that they've kind of gotten over this hump, right? They've gotten to the championship game in conference. Looks like they're going to wrap up a championship here today. Does that mean that you now believe that you're going into just another tournament and that you deserve to be there and you can make the noise that I personally expect them to make?
Now remember, it's most likely that Delaware will end up in one of the 2 play-in games we have this year with the addition of the Atlantic Sun automatic bid. Kobe Smith gets a shot off, rebound, stopped by Kilkiri. And so
hats off to Kilkiri for staying awake in this one. I mean, the defense has been so good. He hasn't seen a lot of shots, but he's made them when he's been asked to.
And he's now over 50%, 6 saves, 5 goals against. And Delaware gets a timeout. We will keep it here. But Greg, we may have, it'll be interesting to see. Delaware is in one of those play-in games. Who the matchup is, it very well may be St. Joe's, and that's a game that was a terrific game the first time they played earlier this season. A 1-goal win by Delaware, and either one of those teams that comes out of the play-in game, I mean, you're going to end up playing Maryland or Georgetown, but especially if it's Georgetown, this team is battle-tested and complete. That could be quite the battle for a top 2 seed in the first round.
I agree with you. And this tournament's going to be fun, man.
Wild.
I mean, I think we can all agree Maryland's #1 team in the country.
Yes.
After that, it gets real fuzzy. And like we saw today, Notre Dame, I personally believe punched their ticket by winning today over Duke. And this is a Duke team that is becoming what we're used to down the stretch. Duke being Duke, getting close to tournament time. So Notre Dame is good, they're in. And they're capable of beating anybody. This Delaware team is capable of beating any team that's going to be in the tournament. We're going to see some really competitive lacrosse. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the year where you really start hearing a lot of voices on we need more teams in the tournament. Because it's going to be so ultra competitive.
I mean, it's tough to argue because of the proportion of teams that play Division I lacrosse, but you look up and down, and the parity is just, it's never been this tight between some of the teams you think of as traditional powers and some teams that have been considered maybe mid-majors, because it's never been closer. We saw what Jacksonville did in the non-conference this year, and they've continued that in conference play. I mean, it has been an unbelievable year of lacrosse, wide open, and the tournament may be just as good.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the parity is huge because I give a lot of credit to my generation and earlier, a lot of professional lacrosse players that have moved all over the country and have brought their knowledge with them. And you're seeing more California, Colorado, Texas, Florida. All of these other areas are producing high-level Division I talent. And when there's that many Division I talented players, they have to go play somewhere. And you're seeing the trickle, not just parity in Division I lacrosse, but you're seeing the level of Division II and III lacrosse.
Yeah.
Just as a face-off academy coach myself, we have a national showcase every year, 250 kids. There's not 250 Division I programs.
No.
And that's why you're seeing not just the face-off position, but everything. And that's why you're seeing the Jacksonvilles, the High Points, the Richmonds. I mean, Delaware is always been a good program. They're now going to be, I think, like I said, I think they're going to be a name that you're going to hear at tournament time, year in and year out. So yeah, it's great time to be a lacrosse player.
Towson gets one more going the other way. It's actually shorthanded. Delaware the man up. Luke Schilling picks up his second goal of this game, playing what I believe will be his final. It's tough to keep track with all these players and extra years of eligibility and transfers and all that, but I believe this is be his final college lacrosse game. And
yeah, that's an interesting point too, man.
I mean, you talk to Ben DeLucas, some of these coaches don't even know who's coming back. Some of the kids don't know until right around school time, and they get that itch and say, do have one more year eligibility left.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the transfer portal is becoming NFL free agency, and it's, the trickle down from that 1 year of the blanket waiver because of COVID has created some really interesting. I mean, we're going to see some movement again this offseason. I think Syracuse's whole attack just jumped in the portal yesterday or something. It's going to be bonkers. And it's always interesting because we talk about the parity. If a couple of good friends decide, hey, let's go to Jacksonville for our last year. It could turn this whole thing on its head. Who knows? Obviously, everyone should probably go to Penn State.
I do want to say here, the final 45 seconds, Kobe Smith's career at Towson winding down, and tough to be more decorated than he's been in his 5 years with the Tigers program. Former All-American, and he's going to be drafted. He'll be playing pro lacrosse this summer, but it's been a pleasure to watch him in a Towson black and gold uniform. He's been one of the better ones we've seen in quite a while for the Tigers.
Yeah, a great career, well-deserved. He'll be playing for the PLL, absolutely. But, I remember my final game in college, and this will be a moment that he's going to want to embrace his teammates, his program, his coaches. But a very good player that we're going to be talking about a lot in this summer and coming summers.
4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. It's time to party like it's 2011, Delaware. The champs in the CAA for the first time in more than 10 years. This has been a couple years in the making for this Blue Hens program. Ben DeLuca taking over. A team that was the top seed last year, knocked off in the semis. Well, they come here to Philadelphia, and they win 2 games in 3 days, and for the first time since 2011, they are headed to the NCAA tournament.
Man, well-deserved. Phenomenal redemption after last season's heartbreak in the semis. And now this team is going to be making noise. The question is going to be, who has the unfortunate circumstance of seeing these guys in the first round?
What a performance here today by Ty Kurtz. The senior out of Ontario goes off for a 6-pack of goals. The second player for Delaware in this tournament that tied the CAA championship record for goals in a game. Mike Robinson does it in the semi. Kurtz does it here in the championship. And the Blue Hens in this potent attack unit and stifling defense win the championship here in the CAA. And you see him all around. Head coach Ben DeLuca there in the middle as he'll bring the team together. Been a journey for him to get here as well. Was at Cornell, the stop at Duke, was at Harvard before he took this program over from the legendary coach Bob Schillinglaw. And the Blue Hens are back on top of the conference.
Well-deserved. I can't wait to see where they go next.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach DeLuca and this Delaware program. Well-deserved.
We will stick around for the trophy ceremony from a rainy Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You see the commissioner, Joe D'Antonio of the CAA. Getting ready to hand out the trophy for our 2022 champs. It's Blue Hens team really impressive today.
Yeah, and if you're Towson as well, they had a great season, and there's a lot to be excited about in that program. They have some really young talent. Now it's just learning from this experience, just like Delaware learned from this experience last year.
Yep.
And making sure that they can come back and make waves in 2023.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Towson for the first time in head coach Sean Nadlin's tenure with the Tigers. They missed the CAA tournament last year, just missed out. They were the 5th team as the top 4 moved on to the tournament. Well, they came back. They got back here. They get all the way back to the championship game after a heck of a performance on Thursday in the semis, but just not enough offense against a determined Delaware team today. But you mentioned, Nick DeMeo back Kyle Berkeley will be back. Got some good young midfielders in Chop Gallagher and Josh Weber. So they will be ready to go for another run. And you know this Towson program, they just reload in this conference. They are always in the mix. But
yeah,
this year it's all about Delaware.
And shout out to Brennan. What an incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that performance, it's a shame that they couldn't come out with a W, because that would have been that was one of the best goalie performances we've seen in a title game of any sort.
Yeah, I mean, he only gives up 11 goals. Like, once again, we come into this game for Towson, and you say you're going to hold this Delaware team to 11 goals. You expect to be in it.
You like your chances.
Yeah. And Brennan had a lot to do with that. 15 saves on the 11 goals he gave up. Would certainly be on my all-tournament team. Terrific performance. Hugs all around for the Blue Hens. And maybe
for friendship and for warmth, probably.
That too, yeah. Yeah, I think the adrenaline's still running. And you look at Delaware, maybe this is a return to what we saw there in the 2010, 2011 range. They had won 3 CAA championships prior to this one. 2007, of course, when they made the run to the Final Four with our good friend Evan Washburn, Curtis Dixon, part of that team, and then they did it again in 2010, 2011, back-to-back years. And this program, not only just for this year, looks like they are poised to be a real power in this conference for years to come. Just going to only make things more difficult for everybody else in this league.
Yeah, I'm sure John Grant Jr.
Yes.
Watched this game. I'm very happy with what he saw. Shout out as well to Coach Trey Wilkes, face-off assistant for Delaware. He's done a phenomenal job. As a unit, as a whole, they were prepared for this game. The scout was fantastic. And he's done a great job in continuing Logan Premtage's ascent from a young, really good recruit to, a definitive stud face-off man in this conference.
Yeah, they had to figure out what they were going to do there. They had Jake Hervana for so many years at the X. And they found Logan Premtage, the sophomore, as the captains will go meet the commissioner, Joe D'Antonio, and they will get to hoist the CAA championship trophy. Have Mark Bita, Kevin Lynch, and Owen Grant out there with head coach Ben DeLuca. And there it is. Ben DeLuca will bring it to the team. The celebration on in Newark, Delaware. The 2022 champions here in the CAA. What a performance throughout not only just today, but this weekend. A dominating win in the semifinal. And then they get to hoist the trophy with an 11-6 victory here in the championship game.
Man, what a joy this conference is to call every year.
Unbelievable.
The coaches are some of the best people in our sport, year in and year out. The games are always high intensity, hard hitting. I'm personally grateful and lucky that I get to do this with you guys. So thank you for that, because this has been another good year of CAA lacrosse.
Yeah, we have to thank the conference again for our continued partnership, because this was a whole lot of fun. I mean, these teams, all 6 teams in the conference this year, were about as tight as any 6 teams in any conference throughout the entire country. And we got a lot of entertaining lacrosse here throughout the 2022 season, as they'll take that championship photo with the trophy, and they'll continue the celebration till tomorrow night when they figure out where they'll go in the NCAA Tournament Selection Show on ESPNU, coming your way here on Sunday. But for now, that's going to do it for us from Philadelphia. Don't forget the CAA Women's Championship tomorrow here in Philly. You can see that title game, noon Eastern time. Drexel and Towson right here on LSN. But for now, we say so long. Once again, your final score, Delaware 11, Towson 6. Blue Hens champions in the CAA for the first time since 2011. For Greg Goredlian, behind the scenes, Dylan Hand, Thomas McNeely, Mike Cohen, and the rest of our crew, I'm Travis Eldridge saying so long from Philadelphia. Thanks for being with us all season long on Lax Sports Network.